Mish, today we're looking at the ghosts of Olympics pasts. And, we've seen the photos. Obviously, I'm a Sydney girl here. So I've been through like seeing an Olympic village that's very exciting and then just like goes dead. So, it's happened here, in Rio, in Athens, and you've seen, well, not so much in Sydney, but in Athens, abandoned stadiums that are covered in weeds. But Brisbane 2032 is promising something different. And the word of the day is adaptive reuse. Now, is this just PR or do you think strategy is actually changing?
Well, Sam, you would think that with so many Olympics around the world, that the Olympic organization or people that are pushing for the Olympics have learned, because actually I come from a city where we had exactly the same thing, and repurposing is what it's all about.
Mm,
So I think it's a total shift in philosophy. It's a spectacle used to be sort of one goal. Now the goal is experience and longevity. So they're really looking at how they can integrate that. And in the latest report that we've been reading by Gensler, basically it says that the value of real estate isn't in how big or shiny it is on TV, but how it performs long term for the community and for ongoing use.
yeah, and I think it needs to because there's so much money and time that's put into building a city and turning it into something that's ready for the Olympics to have all of these people come into the city, but it's gone in the blink of an eye. So I think it's, really important that they're doing this. But, if we're talking a new swimming stadium, for example, what they're going to turn it, what is it going to be? Like a community hub that just happens to have a pool? Like, what is it that they're talking?
Well, let's take a look at the Logan PCYC, which is the Police and Community Youth Clubs. This is a site that they're clearing out right now to make way for a 7,000-seater indoor sports center.
Uh-huh.
But the design isn't just for Olympics, basketball, or volleyball rounds. It's been built as a multi-purpose precinct that can host local markets, graduations, ceremonies, community sports, second games over and over again. And in fact, I play pickleball at one of these centers, and it's
Uh-huh.
amazing. They built it probably with the Olympics in mind, and
Mm-hmm.
it's this gigantic, monstrous center. And I can tell you that we have to book in advance in order to get in there. It is so popular.
That is awesome. That's actually so good.
It's amazing. It really is amazing. And it's a multi-purpose center, and that's what they're looking at doing. At building these multi-purpose centers that have that longevity going on way after 2032.
Ah, this makes Sam happy. I did read that Paris set the benchmark here that 95% of their infrastructure was either temporary or it already existed, just like you were talking about just there with the PYC centre. So, how is Brisbane measuring up to the standard that Paris set?
Green and gold standard. Interesting. So Brisbane's leaning very heavily into that. We've seen the Gabba development get scrapped in favor of using Victoria Park, and this is an existing stadium.
Hmm.
So the idea is to minimize embodied carbon, which is just a fancy way of saying don't build new concrete if you don't
Mm,
have to.
yeah,
Use what you've got.
yeah. And we need to, right? We really need to do that.
Well, I love that, Sam. It's like
Yeah,
it's like repurposing. It's like
absolutely.
what we do in real estate is repurpose old buildings. So this is exactly the same philosophy.
Totally. Well, let's talk about the Athletes Village at North Shore Hamilton because that's a massive chunk of industrial land. What's going to happen to that when the athletes move out?
Well, this is super interesting because this is not very far from where I am, and I've been watching this going on for
Ah,
quite a long time and been saying it's such an ugly area. When are they going to do something about it? So I'm super excited about this.
mm,
And the most exciting part is for the property market and being dubbed into South Bank 2.0, let's say.
mm-hmm.
It's a priority development area and will eventually house up to 23,000 people.
Awesome.
So they've already got a lot of that residential development that's gone into it. And I reckon they are looking at fast tracking. They're going to have to be doing fast tracking build to rent projects in that area right now. And again, it's adapted reuse of a neighborhood, scaling it and turning the wharf into the industrial zone into a high density residential area. It's a beautiful area. I mean, it's right on the area. It's a magnificent area, and I can see it taking off like crazy.
Mm. Now, in the article that you did mention, they talked about experience being the new metric for value. How does that affect commercial investors?
Well, let's have a look at it. It means let's look at the golden rings of opportunity. They aren't just right next to the stadium. Okay, it's the surrounding precincts. And you look at precincts like Woolloongabba, Bowen Hills, Fortitude Valley. All these precincts are not close to where these stadiums are happening, but they sort of what I've referred to previously is like the gray areas. They're outside of that. And these areas get that gentrification, that growth, they get the knock-on effects. It all flows out. So if you're investors and you're looking for assets, they can be repurposed into mixed use. This is an awesome opportunity to be snapping these up. We're looking at a warehouse today that might be a microbrewery or a tech hub tomorrow because, the Olympics are bringing foot traffic, they're bringing transport links, they're bringing all of this traffic right to your door.
Yeah, I love that. But there is a catch. You told me there's a catch. The white elephant risk hasn't totally vanished. So talk to us about this.
No. And that most certainly is a catch. And the challenge is the fixed deadline. So it was pointed out when you have a hard stop like July 2032, costs can blow out completely.
Yeah.
So if we're building too fast or too cheap just to meet the deadline, we end up with buildings that are too expensive to maintain, too hard to adapt later.
Okay. So what you're saying is that the real winners of the 2032 games might not be just the gold medalists, but also the suburbs that get a second life out of their new infrastructure with all of all of these things that you're talking about being added.
Exactly, precisely. I mean, if we turn a rowing venue into a housing precinct or a stadium into a permanent concert hall or with surrounding retail, it's a hub. It becomes that's the real podium finish line
Oh,
is
badumch.
turning. Yeah, absolutely. Kaching,
Uh,
they should be getting the gold medals. Really, I
yeah.
mean, that's ideally what they're looking to do over here is to multi-diversify all of these buildings so that they have ongoing use into the future.
Yeah. Well, Mish, I'm absolutely sold on South Bank 2.0. I liked the way that you said that. As long as there's some great bars there, I'm there. So, Mish, thanks for the deep dive into that. For you that are listening, check the show notes below for a look at the proposed Victoria Park designs. We've linked them up below. And Mish, thanks for joining me for another episode. Or actually, thanks for allowing me to join you for another episode, I should be saying. And
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time on another episode of Revolve Commercial.
Thanks, Sam. Always fun having these chats with you. And thanks to the listeners for listening.